Good morning, everybody. It's 8:41 on 23rd of May, 2025 on Friday. And I want to put a few things out before I forget. I didn't write them down on my little notes here, but some things that I want to say before I forget. And if I start talking about what I wrote down here, I'll forget these things. One was that there was a subscriber that wrote to me, and gosh, do they live in Lithuania or Latvia or that area? But apparently, a lot of those people, maybe from some of these Baltic states, apparently they don't like really a lot of the decisions of their government, and maybe the way things are over there. Certain other things maybe have to do with society or whatever. But apparently they're moving to Belarus, and what is really strange, if you cross the border from those countries into Belarus, they have signs like right at the border, and they're telling you, like, warning you that if you go to Belarus, you may never come back. They're going to throw you in prison. It's like a bunch of crazy stuff like that. And that goes along with, like, the United States putting out these things, leave Belarus immediately, because it's so terrible here. They're going to line you up against the wall and shoot you in a firing squad. They're going to lock you away in a prison and you'll never get out. As a matter of fact, they even have opposition type people here that are here. They are here, and they're saying this stuff. Well, then how come they're not locked up? It's very incredible. And they have a few people that might be locked up for certain other reasons, like if you get out, you incite violence and destroy property and threaten the leader and things like that. I mean, it's they get you in the United States for the same thing, and most other countries. But no, Belarus is much worse. I don't really know. But then, I don't know. Like I said, you see people even making videos and things and saying negative things about the government, putting them on Russian sites. But nothing's happening to them. As a matter of fact, a lot of these people, maybe that have done something terrible, they get locked up and then they release them. And a lot of them, on their own will, they run over to Poland or some of these other countries. And again, I might have put out, there's a guy here that he goes, every single day, when he gets into any kind of conversation with anybody, that speaks Russian language, he doesn't do that with me. And I never even wanted to meet this guy, and I could have had a chance to do it. I don't think he's really so old. He's not like my age, 27, but he's, I think he is, I don't know, he might be like around 40. I'm just guessing, because he's got a son that was in prison. He was doing stuff, and he incites his kids. I mentioned this in one other video, his children, his own children, to hate Russia and to hate the government here. It's just incredible. And he's going around and trying to convince people every single day. It's like his main goal in life is to get people to hate the government here, to hate Russia. And he taught his child, I think I heard when that child was 6 years old at that time, didn't have much of a grasp of the Russian language. And the child would like smile and say, kill Russians, kill all Russians, kill all Russians. Yeah, it's incredible. But yet he's never been locked up as far as I know. And he's going around doing this stuff like on a daily basis. This guy, I don't know, his wife is kind of pissed off about it. I think he got fired from his job for spending so much of his time trying to incite people to hate the government, because the people that employed him were just sick of this guy. But yet this guy's able to run around on the streets. So tell me how bad it is here, And it's almost like, gosh, the freedom of speech here goes way too far. And that way, I wouldn't allow this guy to be on the street. And this guy's been doing it for years and years, and he's still not ever locked up. Boy, talk about being very, very, very liberal. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't ever do anything physical himself. He just goes around and talks and tries to incite. Technically, they could lock the guy up for that. I don't know. Just wanted to put that one out. And another thing I wanted to put out, a subscriber told me, and it's not in any of the notes anywhere, any of the comments, but apparently what they're saying about these 3 homosexual boys that were firebombing, things on Keir Starmer And like I said, this is maybe rumor. It's not really that verified yet. But apparently he swings kind of in the same direction as Macron's swings. Of course, this stuff is hidden. It's very incredible. Very incredible. And all these photos, you know, of Macron doing some kind of crazy things with other men, you know, that were on the internet, they're taken down. I've seen some of these photos, and they weren't deep fake photos. It looked, I mean, you can tell by the lighting, everything is exact. It's not, nothing is really faked on those, as far as I could tell. But they were just photos and stuff that maybe Macron did not know that somebody was taking. So, but anyway, apparently Starmer swings in the same directions, I guess. And so, but these boys, like I said, the rumor is that, and there's a couple facts around the rumor, I'll just kind of put it out, that when Starmer, maybe Boris Johnson was part of it, I don't really, you know, I don't know about these guys. You'd never know, because a lot of this stuff is hidden. So much stuff is hidden from us. But apparently there's things have been put out that when he goes there, and I don't know how Zelensky, how he swings necessarily, really. I've heard things about it too, but you never know if that's verified. But apparently Starmer, there's just a little bit too much information, a little bit too much of these rumors, and it gives us just strong indications. But apparently these boys, and maybe other boys, I have no idea, but they get they do things with old Starmer when he goes to Ukraine and all that. Maybe it's the same organization, and of course it's set up by the government apparently in Kiev. You know, I've heard a couple times. So this might be true. And so Keir Starmer, he kind of swings, like I said. But anyway, apparently Keir Starmer, he didn't want to pay these boys. So I don't know, maybe he's thinking that they send enough money to Ukraine and maybe they should be paid from that budget. So he's not paying them. And I don't know if it was in Ukraine or if it's these boys, because this was happening in the UK, I don't know. But these are all Ukrainian boys. And like I said, one of them was living in Romania, but yet Ukrainian. You know, I think, what does they say in the news? Russian speaking. So I guess, I don't know, maybe all of them speak Russian. So they're trying not to make it point to where it should be pointing to. You know how they do this with information. It's very tricky. Even if the facts are a lot of times true, but they just don't tell you all the facts. So that these were Ukrainian. So anyway, that's why they firebombed some of his properties. I think one was an automobile, and I don't know. So that's just put out, and that was, like I said, some information, and I guess that's put out maybe on Russian sites. No, I think that's coming from, I guess, a British news source, but they put it out on the Russian site that the British news source was saying this. So it's just something interesting for you guys to take note of. Okay, now let's get on to some of this other news here that I was going to be talking about. Hey, I'm glad it's actually warm here. I can even come out on a cloudy day. Don't have to wear a coat. And when the sun is shining, it starts to get really hot. You definitely want to strip down to a t-shirt at least. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Well, let me put out one other thing. Talking about stripping down. I was thinking maybe I just kind of change this channel a little bit, because I'm getting way too much pressure from YouTube. Like yesterday's video, and it seems like it's a regular occasion what they do to me, that when I put on these videos, obviously, you know, say a 40-minute video, they try to take many hours for me to put out. I mean, for them to put it on the up on the site and upload it, I guess, as you say. And like 40 minutes. I think it was yesterday. It was 50-minute video, and it was like first off, it was like between 4 and 5 hours. I wasn't really looking at this time as much. And then, of course, when it gets really close, or maybe when it gets to 99%, then they start it all over again. So, and I was thinking maybe one of the theories is that they're trying to do this to where when it actually becomes active, when the video actually comes up, it's like for those that are living in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, which means practically nobody, you know, or maybe very late at night in LA times, everybody's already in bed on the East Coast, things like that. And then so all of this time, the Pacific Ocean is huge. And then in Asia, where most people don't speak English, only Australia, because I do have people from Australia that watch these videos. But anyway, they make it come active at a time when there's the fewest amount of people that could actually get these videos, so that it's up there for like maybe hours at a time, and you get 0 views, or maybe 1 hour, I don't know, or you get 2 views or something like that in 2 hours. I'm wondering if they do that on purpose. I really don't know. I don't understand what the heck goes on with YouTube and why they do the things they do. And I said, like, there's people that they treat worse than I do. But I'm thinking, well, maybe I should just do less videos, and I don't know. I'm thinking about doing some change, because I'm really getting sick of this. Because you spend so much time watching, I don't know, and I can't use my phone for many, many hours. So that's like 20 hours. I cannot use my cell phone for much of anything. You can't watch a video on YouTube because it sits there and it buffers for literally minutes, many, many minutes, and you cannot watch a video because it takes up so much energy for trying to upload these YouTube videos. And I can just set my phone down and not use it at all for like 8 hours, and the battery is almost dead because it takes so much power to try to upload these videos onto YouTube. And I'm kind of getting sick of that, and I guess they're doing that on purpose. I guess they want me not to put up videos, at least not the type of videos I put up. It's a lot of information nobody puts out because they don't like that information. I don't know. There's other people that can put things up. I don't know if they're getting attacked like this, but I don't know if they're putting up so much on YouTube. You have to see these things maybe on other platforms. Maybe I should be going to those. Like I didn't want to go to Rumble. It was taking so long to upload things on Rumble, but now I guess Rumble would be extremely fast compared to the times when things go up on YouTube. But then there's videos, certain people, they put things up, and it's like a lot of, it is anti-Semitic and black. They hate, it's like racist and anti-Semitic, and yet they get far more views than I get. It's like, I don't know. Is that the world? That's part of the world? I don't know. But anyway, let me get on to some of the news. You guys don't want to hear all this ranting crap. From about, I'm guessing the time is around May 21st to May 22nd. Russia shot down nearly, I think it was 489 drone attacks from Ukraine into Russia. And 63 of them were in Moscow. But I'll talk a little bit more about that soon. Political strategist, columnist, and often talk show host Rachel Marsden stated that the EU, it was a good view. That's why I'm saying this. That they're addicts on Russian sanctions. I mean, no, they're addicts, and that the sanctions on Russia are the drug. So it's like a drug for them, the sanctions on Russia. Some other news. Russia said they will create a buffer zone in Ukraine. I'll add more about that soon. And I saw some videos or some news. I don't know if this is true, but this guy, Elias Rodriguez, this guy that killed these young couple or something, I'm not even sure, because a lot of this stuff is, they make sure that they do not tell you a lot of this information, like I said, lying by omission. But apparently they had this some sort of a meeting, and I guess maybe it was anti-Gaza meeting or something, and there was this young couple, very nice looking couple, young, and they were going to get married or something, and this guy killed them. I don't know why he would do that. I don't know. They're not telling us what this is all about, of course, and they probably won't when it becomes uncomfortable for them to be telling us truth, because it will not fit the scenario that they want us all to believe. But this guy, I'm not going to be defending this Elias Rodriguez for killing these people. I'm certainly not going to do that. But apparently, I don't know, I think he was saying free Palestine, and there's strong indications that this guy was Jewish. And they're not going to tell you that. They're, Elias, a name like Elias. Rodriguez is Spanish. Elias, I think, is that a Jewish name? I think. But anyway, he was saying apparently free Palestine and all that. And I don't know about this guy. Like I said, I'm not going to defend him. I'm certainly not going to defend somebody that marches in somewhere and puts bullets into some people. But I'm just thinking that the whole scenario, it's like they're using this as a big tool, and they're starting, again, I just put out in a video that I think I was saying that this tool of anti-Semite is not working anymore, and nobody really cares about it anymore. So it used to be, oh no, don't go, oh, I'm melting, don't call me an anti-Semite. But, that was all dying out, and people would wear that as a badge of honor when you're called an anti-Semite. It means that you are a person that believes in humanity. If you're called an anti-Semite, that means, that these, which are the people that would call you an anti-Semite, are really evil and hateful people. The only people that call other people anti-Semites, for the most part, with a vindication as they do, are evil people. These are evil and hateful people. Basically, they're Nazis. They are Nazis, and they want this superiority of Zionist Jews to be rulers of the entire world, basically. So they use that as a tool to try to go after you. And so a lot of people, that's why I'm saying, is why they wear it as a badge of honor when you're called an anti-Semite. It's like saying, thank you very much. That means I am for all people on planet Earth, no discrimination against anybody. And then, no superiority complex like the Zionist Jews feel they are the rulers of the world, and they have the right to tell everybody else what to do, and to tell everybody, you hate these people, you like these people, and you hate them. So anybody that does not agree with Israel, their mass murder and killing and genocide of all the Palestinians people to ethnically cleanse the land because God gave it to them, those are bad people. So you have to be in favor of them stealing that land from those people that have been there for thousands of years, because God gave it to them, for God's sakes. So anyway, but this guy, he was apparently Jewish, and I said he probably went off the deep end, and but he's a product. I was going to say he's a product of today's system, and today's system of what it is, and it's like rampant all over the place. It's this radical stuff, that we can end violence with more violence. It's sort of like the Zelensky and Netanyahu of Israel, The way to end violence is to kill more people. So if we get more violent and do more killing, it will end the killing. So we end the killing by killing more people. That makes sense now, doesn't it? Look at this. Here's a garbage can. I just wanted to show you. Somebody throwing something away. These things, and somebody, I don't know if they put this out saying, oh, maybe somebody can use this. So a lot of time you see clothing strapped like over the sides of these bins and things like that, or put things out like in case somebody else coming by can use them. And it's kind of like a contrast. I remember living in Germany, they have Sperrmüll. You put your stuff out, I think once or twice a year, and then they have a truck that comes by and takes these things, certain things that you can't put in the garbage. And a lot of the people that put these things out, like for example, a couch. Matter of fact, I knew a guy, he was in the military, U.S. Army. I was even in basic training at the same time with him in the same place and all that. It was very strange. And then we end up living in the same city in Bremen, Germany, after we got out of the military some years later. So, but anyway, in his apartment, he's a real athletic black guy, and he's from California. He was a computer programmist, but anyway, he said all of the stuff in his apartment, his couches, everything is from Sperrmüll, from what people were throwing away. Like you buy something new, and a new couch, put an old couch out there, whatever. But there's a lot of people, before they put their couch out, they take box cutters or whatever, and they slice up all the upholstery on the couches and things like that, so that nobody would want them. And it's like, well, what is that to you? What if somebody Maybe they don't have as much money. Maybe there's some young people starting out. Well, what if they want to come out and take your couch, your old couch that you don't want anymore? You have no use for it. Well, let them use it. So it's like, what the heck? It makes no sense, but that's how it is, you know? But they don't, I don't know. So somebody putting out something like that somebody else might be able to use, I find that fine. I don't know, different philosophies in the world. So let's keep going. Getting off on the tangents again here. But as I'm saying, you know, this system in the world now, that we can stop hate with more hate. You know, stop the killing with more killing. And what my example of this is, it's like, if you think about this, you have Biden, Donald Trump, allocations from the U.S. Congress or whatever, and yet if people say, oh, they want to stop this war, so the way to stop the war is to give more bombs, like to get peace between Palestine and Israel, is to flood Israel with massive bombs, to give them more bombs, you know. And who is Israel at war with? It's more like they're at war with Muslim peoples, the innocent Muslim people. So they're bombing them, just like what was it, yesterday? Probably today as well. Last night, they're bombing Lebanon as well. They're bombing civilian areas. And there's one area, sometimes they get these people and they say they're going to bomb the crap out of some. It makes you really wonder if they're trying to kill terrorists, for example, but yet they give an order and they say we're going to bomb this one area so we get out of there. So, well, how are they going to kill the terrorists when do you think the terrorists are going to stick around and say, okay, well, we're going to stay here while the innocent people leave because we're terrorists and we want to get bombed? Do you think that's going to happen? So anyway, a lot of these people, but they still, you know, the bomb blast, I guess it went beyond the area that they bombed, and I guess it damaged some other places and some people got injured. I don't know how bad. They never say how bad. You know, an injury, they can sometimes mean where they're going to die pretty soon. Maybe their legs were blown off or something. Oh, but that's not dead, they're injured. Yeah. Okay. But like I say, it's kind of like you know, killing more people to stop the killing. That's actually more like Zelensky and Zelensky's approach and Netanyahu's. So Zelensky believes that if he can shovel every month 30,000 Ukrainians to die fighting the Russians, which some people say 20 times more powerful than Ukraine itself, you know, and I guess he's hoping beyond any hope to get the United States in. And even Europe says, oh, we have to get the United States in. So they're trying any kind of scenario whatsoever, hoping that some sort of opportunity will come about where they can get the United States in on that war also to stop more killing. So if we kill more Russians, we can stop the killing. Hey, that'll work. But the biggest thing that Zelensky's been able to accomplish is to kill more Ukrainians. So, like I said in one video, I might have even titled it that it's like that's part of his plan, and it's part of a lot of people's plans. It's not just to kill the Russians; it's to kill Slavic peoples, and that's been a plan, you could say. I mean, seriously. And I have, you know, my videos are not that popular, so me putting this out, maybe a lot of people, maybe I'd have to research and find quotes in history books and things like that said they actually, a lot of times in Europe, the elites, they've had this program. That is one of the goals, is to try to kill off Slavic peoples. I don't say it's genocide, but I don't really know. Maybe to keep them down. I don't think you could actually genocide them all, notwithstanding the fact of some of these things that were getting developed by Ukraine in Ukrainian laboratories that target, you know, but I guess Ukraine's interest in that was to try to find out something that would not kill off Ukrainians, viruses and things, but yet would kill off Russians and Belarusians and maybe other Slavic peoples, whatever. Because if you want to trace some things back, I know for a fact, because this is well studied, that a lot of the people in Hungary, for example, and of course this will make Ukraine very happy. Maybe I shouldn't put it out, but the Magyars or whatever, they migrated, I don't know, many hundreds of years ago from Russia and into Hungary. So a lot of the background of the people in Hungary, genetically speaking, is Russian background. So I just shouldn't have maybe put that out. Oh, got something in my eye here. Anyway, but gosh, tangents, Duke, tangents. What else do I have here? Oh, I hate this with my eyes. I got sensitive eyes. I shouldn't put that out either. They might drop something here. Okay. It's something with RFK Jr. and this has been put out by other people. It's like this autism. It's very strange. Back in my days, it was like very, very rare that somebody was autistic. And it's kind of strange now. There was a guy in one of my classes in Russian class, and he was kind of, I don't know, socially I didn't really see him so much with friends or nothing. He was not a bad guy at any point at all. But he's like a Korean, South Korea, and I noticed that sometimes he was rocking like this, and socially didn't really have friends or nothing like that. Didn't associate with anybody friendly likewise in the school, and it's obviously the guy's autistic. But apparently, back in my day, it was like 1 out of 100,000 children would be autistic, and now it's like 1 out of every 31 is autistic. And I guess apparently that all started when they started with this max vaccination problem. And in most other countries, it's way, way less than what it is in the United States, where it's like required almost. And it's very strange also that a lot of the children that are born that were not vaccinated, they don't have autism. It's practically zero. So it's just kind of strange. And maybe there's something, obviously there's something there, but you just got to find out what it is. Okay. Ukraine is escalating the drone attacks. This is what I started out, I mentioned earlier. And attacks against civilians. In 2 days, as I said, Russia shot down 489 drones, 63 in the Moscow region. And most of these drones, they target people traveling in cars, apartment buildings, markets, churches, hospitals. And because of this, one main reason why Russia is going to be putting up a buffer zone. So Putin was announcing now they're going to be making some sort of a buffer zone. And obviously, normally, those who can impose the buffer zone, it's always going to be on the other guy's property. It's not going to be on yours. So it's going to be in Ukraine. And so it looks like what Russia is going to be doing, they're going to be, in a certain way, not really controlling, but clearing out larger portions of Ukraine. And maybe part of this has to do with some of the recent areas that they've mostly freed, but apparently it's going to be 100 kilometers. And he put out, and a lot of people in the Russian government are putting out, that the Ukrainian forces, Ukrainian government, is terrorist in nature. Well, gee, I would never have guessed that. Well, that's obviously true. And they've obviously, Ukraine has gone into terrorism, big into terrorism. But of course in the West, we're not supposed to say that. Killing civilians, that's only if the designated enemies does that. But if it's our friends, like the United States sees Ukraine as their friends. Even Donald Trump never goes that far to say that it's terrorist in nature. If somebody else does it, then it is. But of course not Ukraine, So they can go around and bomb marketplaces, Matter of fact, they were doing this stuff before, but they're just doing it, they just expanded it. Like I said, one of the things that really got me against Ukraine is when they started bombing children, or school buses filled with children. That was long before the special military operation. Maybe that was about, 2015 or something like that, when they started bombing all those people in Donbass. I'm not supposed to talk about that. That didn't happen. So they didn't kill nearly 14,000 of their own people, when it was part of Ukraine, because they dared to speak Russian. They didn't want to speak Ukrainian or get rid of their language and blah, blah, blah. So, but anyway, that's stuff you guys already know. But anyway, this buffer zone, it's mostly for Belgorod, Bryansk, and Kursk. But of course, it also looks like it's going to be Kherson, Zaporozhye, Donbass, and Crimea. And the reason why they did it for 100 kilometers is because most of these NATO-supplied shells, they have a range of 70 kilometers. But as I said, you know, some of these drone attacks are still on Moscow at 63, just in the 2-day period. Did I say 24 hours? Did I say 48 hours? It was, within 2 days, it was 489 drone attacks. I don't know if anybody died. Maybe they shot down most all of these things. Maybe Russia is, I guess they're getting better and better at drone defense, being able to detect and get rid of all these drones. It's incredible. They're really getting some incredible stuff. I think the West has been talking about that. And of course, they're very disappointed of that they cannot, you know, continue, you know, at will to be launching drones to kill Russians. So, you know, and I think that's even, you know, some disappointment from the United States and from Europe. And like I said, Kaya Kallas, she put out, this is in video, that she says they need to kill more Russian children. Oh, but these are nice people. They're not Nazis. They're not terrorists. This is not genocide. I think, I don't know. It might not be genocide when you kill children, but it is genocidal. There is no doubt about that. And it's really, like I said, the world where it's going today, that it's like it's highly acceptable to be killing children. It's very sick stuff. And that's probably why it takes my videos so long to upload, because I state these facts. I don't dink around. You know, George Galloway and a lot of people, they talk a lot about these sort of things, but they, I don't know, they, you know, maybe they kind of sugar-coat it a little bit more than I do. But they're better speakers, like George Galloway, a very awesome guy. If you watch some of his videos. Okay, what else we got here? Donald Tusk of Poland. He said the West will confront the Russian threat in the Baltic. But of course, I've just been saying that already, and they've already been doing this, militarizing islands that by treaty are supposed to stay demilitarized. Sweden is doing this. Oh, now they're in NATO. I don't know. I guess now they don't. We're part of NATO, we're part of the West. We don't have to obey any agreements, even amongst ourselves. When it turns to be our advantage, we're just going to stab you in the back. We're not going to honor any of our word or any of our treaties. It's just, I mean, think of the Minsk agreements. We decided that, you know, that wasn't worth it. It was ratified by the United Nations, but we don't have to obey it because we're the West. We can do anything we want to do. You know, our word is crap. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. We'll just disobey whatever we feel and when it suits us to do whatever we want to do. Because we're Sweden as well. We're going to be that way. Even Switzerland. We're all going to be that way. Especially when it has to do with Russia. Gosh. You know, we're in the Hate Russia Club, and that is the main goal. Everything we do, everything has to be hate Russia. Hate. You know, and hate Palestinians and hate Iran. Any of these countries. We have to hate them all. These are all the subhumans. They're not worth it. I mean, see, we're not disobeying because they're not humans. Wow. Anyway, it's the NATO lake. The NATO lake, that's going to be the Baltic. Yeah. Some things are starting already. I already mentioned that they're, you know, and Russia is responding, you know, when some of these countries are stopping, what was it, Gabon, it was a oil tanker bringing Russian oil to Africa, and they stopped it and detained, I don't know what the heck. And Russia, I don't know. They're kind of responding to that too. Who knows? It might, I don't know. Like I just said, Donald Tusk is kind of hinting it might just start to get. That might be the beginning. Somebody was saying even that might be the beginning of World War III. It might be starting in the Baltic. When things start out here. Okay. I mentioned that about Israel not only bombing Gaza but also Lebanon now. And somebody was saying that it's normally every single night at least 100 people get killed by Israelis bombing in Gaza, at least. Those are on the small ones. I mean, it's not in one bombing raid, but several. You know, they're killing here and they're killing there in different places in Gaza. Wow. Anyway. Good news always, yeah. Stuff you guys want to hear. Netanyahu, he made a video. I mean, this guy, oh man. I mean, this guy, pure hate and evil. Oh, this is incredible. He and Zelensky are two peas in a pod. I'm gonna name this video "Two Peas in a Pod." These guys, it's incredible. Incredible. Is this lady that does cleaning up around here? Starts talking to me. I don't understand a word she says. I don't know if that's her. No. Anyway. But anyway, Netanyahu said free Palestine is the new Heil Hitler. You know, obviously he did this in English, and then he's, you know, kind of taken pot shots now against Macron and these people that are against the killing. I'll tell you what, Piers Morgan, you even hear Piers Morgan. He's a big, strong supporter of Israel, and I don't understand how he can get away with this. A lot of people say that he's paid by Israel, but now he's talking about this is genocide. He's talking like with these Muslim guys or people that are, you know, trying to support these people of Palestine. And he did this video, and I don't think it was any kind of a deep fake thing. He said, well, you've won me over, and this is terrible stuff. They're killing these people. Wow. That's going to be interesting to find out if that's really true. God. Winning over Piers Morgan. I don't know. I never did like the guy. Maybe, I don't know. He had some disagreement with Tucker Carlson too, and Tucker Carlson was kind of laughing at him. I don't remember what that was about, but anyway. So, but it's like projection, you know. Israel, or Netanyahu and some of these people, they accuse Hamas of the things that they do. And I like to keep reiterating, because they're trying to disappear this from the media completely, is that Israel is the one that killed all those Israelis. They might have killed all the Israelis. When Hamas was just going on, this was on their, what is it, this October 6th, keep forgetting if it's 6th or 7th, 2023, and when they had this, purposefully, they had this concert of young people celebrating right on the border of Gaza, and Hamas was going there to try to get hostages to use in exchange for the many thousands and thousands of hostages that Israel holds of Palestinian, including lots of children and lots of women that have nothing to do with anything like that. They just do this to spite the people there. But anyway, they were trying to get some hostages so that they could exchange these hostages for some of these Palestinian ones. And it was kind of supposed to be a simple sort of a thing. You know, that's when they had these little gliders. I don't even know how many people were involved, how many people of Hamas. But, you know, and Israel puts out, oh, Hamas killed 1,200 Israelis. But I guess nobody can account for any more than 300 people getting killed or something. It was right around 300. And according to the Israelis that were there, that witnessed it, that came out and spoke out, they said that it was Israel that were killing the Israelis, that they were coming in tanks and firing it into the houses, and they were taking these, you know, these Apache helicopters, and people were hiding in cars and they were burning out all the cars. It wasn't, Hamas doesn't have that. They don't have any capabilities to do that. You know, Israel does, but no, it was Hamas that did it, and they were raping. And there was no reports of any rapes, no reports from any Israelis anywhere, but then they come up, oh, they were raping people. I mean, that was, like I said, Roger Waters from Pink Floyd, one of the founders. He was on Piers Morgan, and he was arguing with Piers Morgan and said, there's no evidence of any rapes. Hey, you know, Piers Morgan, and of course, I don't know, maybe Piers Morgan now is going to say, well, you're right, there is no evidence that there was any rapes whatsoever. But of course, Netanyahu has to be putting out this crap to make everybody try to hate them, so that we all excuse the mass extermination and the ethnic cleansing and the genocide of the Palestinian people altogether. Because God gave them that land, as you all know. You saw his signature on that paper. It was a real estate agreement. God gave it to them. So they didn't, damn Palestinians anyway. So anyway, here you have Netanyahu. He's doing the same thing as Zelensky always does. He uses the media. He has this little circus act there, getting on there, make sure they speak English most of the time, and telling how evil their enemy is, or whatever the deal might be. We need to kill all those people. That way we can stop the killing. When we do a lot more killing, we'll stop the killing by killing. So, you know, anyway, forget about that. Let's see. Apparently the United States will now stop making pennies. They say that it takes 3 cents to make 1 cent. I don't know. Maybe it's the value of the copper too as it changes. We'll see what happens on that. It's kind of interesting. You might want to actually get a whole bunch of the pennies because the price of copper keeps going up and too. But you know, when you want to go trade it somewhere, you got this big old heavy thing that you can't even carry, and maybe it's worth $30 or something like that. So I don't know. You'd have to have 2 people to carry it. I don't really know, but maybe the price is going to go up even higher at some point in time. I don't know. Germany and the UK, they want to joint produce missiles that go 2,000 kilometers. And of course they're talking to make, they want to use these in this future war against Israel in 2029. I mean, not Israel, against Russia. Israel, I don't know, that's an idea there. But they want to use it against Russia. And they say maybe that that Russia wants to start the war maybe around 2029 or 2030, but we're not going to provoke that. You know, we're not going to keep building up our military forces. We're not going to keep threatening Russia. We're not going to, all this. Anyway, so those evil Russians. The EU Council will debate on the 27th of May whether they will take like Hungary's voting rights away in the EU. So in other words, because they keep thwarting all of these measures against Russia, of course, you know, damn Hungary, they just don't join the hate Russia club. Doesn't Hungary know that the biggest, that primarily the EU is a hate Russia club? Why do we let them even participate? Because everything has to be hate Russia, steal the money from our people, and use it somehow to do stuff against Russia. And to feather our pockets, fill our pockets, and to hate Russia. So, but Fico, Robert Fico from Slovakia, he said he's going to block that. So it makes you wonder, maybe they're just going to kind of pencil in Slovakia as well. But you know what happens when they are able to overthrow those governments, which of course, you know, that cheating on the vote, that's everybody knows that they're huge amount of cheating. They're cheating and cheating and cheating. It turns out probably the biggest vote cheaters in all of history is probably the EU, and maybe they're gonna, you know, they're trying to get rid of Fico. I talked to somebody here not long ago, and they are in some sort of an organization. I'm not sure which. I think they come from Austria, but they lived in Slovakia as well, and they're part of an organization. And they were telling me that they put huge resources. The EU puts huge resources. Well, where is this money coming from? That they're having all these things staged against Robert Fico in Slovakia. So they're really trying to get rid of him. It's not just Slovakia and all these other countries that they're really, really, really going after. What's really great is, at least for me anyway, is here we're in Belarus, and Lukashenko, what a master. The guy's been able to get rid of most of all of this stuff in this country where they're trying to overthrow him. You know, sure, they have these people and they have agents here. They're trying to assassinate him, and they have this like Kolonovsky regiment or something, and a lot of them, you know, they're fighting against Russia too, so a lot of them die in that thing. So like, you know, that's kind of made it a little bit smaller. And then they have these organizations in Poland and the Baltic states that they're training these people militarily. These are Belarusians, you know, that were, you know, inciting violence and destroying property, and so they basically said, you know, get out. So anyway, they went well, they didn't say get out, they said, you know, they're going to arrest them. So they got out. They went to Poland and places like that, and of course they're in training and stuff to try to overthrow. I mean, they don't care if they kill a whole bunch of Belarusians as well with that. And there are opposition people here that are in prison, and they told, you know, I don't know, maybe it was candidly or not, I don't know, but they said when they do come to power, they are going to kill thousands of Belarusians. Anybody that supported Lukashenko or strong supporters, and that don't pledge their allegiance to the opposition, they will kill them. They will kill thousands of people. That's what they said. But you know, but wait a minute. Lukashenko's the bad guy. How come he's not killing those people? But he's the bad guy. Oh no, you guys, don't you know? The people that cheat on the vote, that's democracy. Those that that kill innocent people, those are the good guys. I mean, what a world. What a world. I mean, it's incredible. So, anyway, I talk about that all the time. High officials in Ukraine, it was the finance minister, by the way, Sergei Marchenko. He has come out and he has said that the European Union should, he didn't demand, at least he didn't demand, he said the Europeans should set up a policy where part of the GDP of the entire EU goes to Ukraine for military purposes. You know, I don't know, 1%, that's a huge amount of money if you really think about it, of the EU, the entire EU. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. That is into the billions of dollars every single month, year, whatever the deal is, however, whenever they get it, should go to Ukraine for military purposes. Wow. A fixed percentage. Okay. And the last piece of news, it's like nothing that real big. But Microsoft, I guess they've made it now illegal in emails to use the words Gaza, Palestine, and genocide. And anyone who protests Microsoft's ties to Israel, very strong ties to Israel, will get fired. So, hey, that's a way to support freedom of speech and democracy. Don't you know that that's what that's all about? That's freedom of speech and democracy. So, well, that's about all I have for news today. And like I said, I don't know. I guess, I don't know, maybe a lot of people disagree with the things I say, and I'm just putting out things that are getting put out. But I don't know, my channel does not seem to reach that many people, and I know sure, like I said, and there are people that tell me also, and it's even written on the site, I believe, that when a lot of their messages, when they put up messages, that YouTube deletes their messages. So maybe they're saying some things, so they put very, very, very brief messages, very short sentences. And people have also told me that they see sometimes on my site that I've got like, when I start to upload the videos, that I have at some point in time, I might have like 50 views or 55 views, and the next time they look I have 48 views. And I mentioned that already. People unsee my videos. All kinds of funny games, like I'm telling you, that YouTube seems to do. I don't know. It's really a challenge, and I don't really know what I'm going to be doing. Maybe I put up less videos. I don't know. Maybe I can't use certain languages. Maybe that's the algorithms that do part of this. I don't know. I'm at a loss of this. But it's just getting so frustrated, like I said, because I can't friggin' use my phone. You know, if my phone was so good, I'd just say, oh, go ahead, let it just take 20 hours or something to upload the video. And at least, you know, because at times what they were doing to me, they just stopped uploading, and they said uploading, but it wouldn't move. It would stay at a certain percentage for a long, long, long time, and I'd have to stop it and start it all over again myself. But at least on some of these times, they're restarting it after maybe many hours, and then they send it back to zero and start all over again. You know, I don't know, maybe that's to make sure that the videos get up, like I said, when for those that live in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, that don't have internet at all anyway. No, only the Australians can probably get it then. But that's how it works, apparently. I'm just guessing. All speculation. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for joining me. And like I said, maybe I'm not going to stop the channel. I'll be maybe just changing some things. I don't know, put out different information. You never know. Thanks for supporting me, guys, girls, people, cats. I like cats. So, and I'll see you guys on the next one.